Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In this tutorial I will show you how to make the Happy Clouds sweater, which is a mini version of the sunset sweater which you can find on my channel. Because it's a mini version, we will work it the same. So this sweater is worked from cuff to cuff. So first we are working the cuff, then we are starting with the sleeve. Then we will work a small portion for the shoulder and then split the work in half to work the back panel and front panel, and then again with shoulder and finishing with sleeve and then the cuff. So this is basically the structure of the sweater, and this is how everything will be put together, and then we will stitch the edges to just form the sweater. For this version I'm using from Kokonki 6. It's a cake yarn and it's a mix between cotton and acrylic, and I use this emerald color for it, and for size 4 years, which I'm making in the tutorial, I needed 2 cakes of this yarn. And we will work with a 4mm crochet hook, and as I said, we will start with the cuff, which is ribbing, working single crochet just in the back loops. So we will chain 11 stitches, then starting with the second stitch, make 1 row in single crochet, and then the second row will be single crochet in the back loop only, and this will be the row that you'll have to repeat until finishing the cuff. And in total I had 26 rows, about 16 centimeters. And now basically we will start with the sleeve. So chain 2, and on the side row single crochet you'll have to make half double crochet. So in each side row you will have to do a half double crochet. So at the end of this row you will have the same number of half double crochet as the number of rows for the cuff. So I had in total 26 half double crochet. So in each side row, in each single crochet row, you will have to do a half double crochet. And this will be the first row for the sleeve. I will just continue to half double crochet to the end. And then at the end of the row, we will chain 2 and turn. Now 1 half double crochet in the first stitch, and in the second stitch we will do the increase by making 2 half double crochet in the same stitch. Then we will continue with 1 half double crochet into each stitch until we have 2 stitches left. In the stitch before the last one we will do the increase again, so 2 half double crochet here, and we will finish with 1 half double crochet into the last stitch. Chain 2 at the beginning of the row doesn't count as first half double crochet, so always work into the first stitch. And you will have to repeat this row, increasing at the beginning and at the end of the row, until you will have in total 30 rows. I'm making size 4 and the sweater has a waist length. In case you need more length to the sweater, you will have to make more rows on the sleeve, or you can, for the last few rows of the sleeve, you can increase with 2 stitches at the beginning and at the end. Now that we finished the sleeve, I will just cut the yarn because we need to start with an extension, which will be the ribbing at the bottom of the sweater. So just to make sure that I will have an even number of the same number of rows on each side, I will start with a chain. So now we are doing 10 chain stitches before starting working on our sweater. So chain 10, and then in the first stitch that we have here we will do a half double crochet. So yarn over and insert the hook into the first stitch and make the first half double crochet. Now we will continue with one half double crochet into each stitch to the end of the row, and at the end of the row we will do another extension, which will be the extension for the ribbing of the other side. Now it doesn't matter if it's the front or the back because both are the same for the moment. So just continue and half double crochet into each stitch. Now that we are at the end of the row, we will do the second extension, and you'll have to chain 11 this time because the last chain will be the turning chain. After chaining 11, you will have to turn your work, and starting with the second stitch, single crochet into the next 10 stitches. So only single crochet into the extension because we are doing these 10 stitches at the beginning and at the end will be in a ribbing pattern in single crochet in the back loop only. So now we have to start with single crochet into the first 10 stitches. And then we will start to half double crochet into the next stitches until we get on the other chain on the other side where we have the extension and where we will have to single crochet into the last 10 stitches. So I just half double crochet into each stitch. Now I have the last 10 stitches in which I will do a single crochet to the end of the row. So I will have in total 10 single crochet. And this was the first row of the shoulder section. Remember the section number 3 on the sketch that I showed you at the beginning, and this was the first row, and we will start the second one, which will be a bit different because the first 10 stitches and the last one we will work in the back loop only and also single crochet. So now starting with the first stitch, just single crochet into the back loop and repeat for all 10 stitches that you have on this extension. So single crochet in the back loop only, and then when we will get to the first half double crochet stitch, we will start to half double crochet into each stitch until we will get to the opposite side where we have the last 10 stitches in which we will single crochet into the back loop only. And now we will finish the row with 10 single crochet into the back loop only. And this was the second row of the shoulder section, and you will have to repeat the second row for 8 more rows. So in total you will have 10 rows for the shoulder section, and then we will split the work into 2 to work the front and back panel. But until then you will have to just repeat the second row 8 more times. I will just finish the single crochet in the back loop and chain 1 and turn, and repeat this second row until you will have 10 rows in total. You can count from the extension because it will be easier to see which are the rows that you already worked and how many they are. And we will meet after working 10 rows for the shoulder to continue working on our sweater. Okay, now that we finished the 10 rows, I just place a stitch marker after half number of stitches. After increasing, you should have 86 stitches. So place a stitch marker into stitch 43, exactly at half. And now we will start to work the front panel. Now it's we can say which is the front panel, because we will stop with 2 stitches before the stitch marker just to make the front panel a bit shorter, and this will help that the neckline will be a bit shorter in the front, not to be too high when the sweater is worn. So we will start working the same as until now with the first 10 stitches with single crochet in the back loop only, and then we will half double crochet into each stitch until we have 2 stitches left before the stitch marker. I got to the end of the row, so I have 2 stitches left to the stitch marker, and now I will just chain 2 and turn, and I will start working with the first stitch, making 1 half double crochet. Still, the chain 2 at the beginning doesn't count as a first half double crochet, and I will continue with half double crochet into each stitch until I have 10 stitches left, in which we should single crochet in the back loop only. And this will be the second row of the neckline or of the front panel, and we will work in total 19 rows. After 19 rows, you'll have to cut the yarn because we will continue to work the back panel now. So we will rejoin yarn in the marked stitch, and rejoin the yarn, chain 2, and then we will start to half double crochet all the way until we have 2 stitches left, 10 stitches left, which is the ribbing, in which we will have to single crochet in the back loop only. And now basically we are working the back panel, and we will have the same number of rows as for the front panel, so we will work in total 19 rows. Now I will just half double crochet into each stitch until I will get to the ribbing, and then in the last 10 stitches I will work single crochet in the back loop only. Okay, now I will turn, and I will work the first 10 stitches single crochet in the back loop only, and then continue with half double crochet to the end of the row, and I will repeat until I will have 19 rows in total. So now the front and back panel are done. You should end up with your last row of the back panel should be on the ribbing, not on the middle, on the neckline. And now we will join the two parts together, and we will start to work again to our second shoulder and then to our second sleeve and finish with the cuff. So now I will just start the row as usual with the first 10 stitches single crochet in the back loop only. And then we will continue with half double crochet to the end of the row to the neckline, and then there we will have to join with the front panel. And to join with the front panel we have to chain 2, because remember that we have 2 chains that we skipped when working the front panel. So now we have to chain those 2 stitches, and then into the first stitch of the front panel we will do the first half double crochet, or the next one, and we will continue with 1 half double crochet into each stitch except the last 10, in which we will have to work single crochet in the back loop only. Okay, I got to the end of the row, and starting with the next row, basically the shoulder section start, and we have to work 10 rows, the same as we did on the other shoulder. 10 rows working from hem to hem, so from the back hem to the front hem, or reverse. And after working the 10 rows, we will have to start working on the sleeve. So at the end of the row you don't have to chain or something, because we will have to skip the stitches for the ribbing, because we are done with the body section of the sweater. And we will do this by slip stitch into these 10 stitches. So you will have to go with the with your hook into the first half double crochet. So now I will just slip stitch into those stitches of the ribbing. And now into the first half double crochet I will do a half double crochet, and then I will continue with 1 half double crochet into each stitch until we have 10 stitches left, which is the ribbing, and there we will just stop with our row, because we are starting to work on the sleeve. So we will just stop on the last half double crochet. Okay, so I did the last half double crochet. So now chain 2 and turn, and we will start to decrease now. So in the first stitch just make 1 half double crochet, and then yarn over, insert the hook into the next stitch, then insert the hook into the next, yarn over, pull out the loop, and then yarn over and pull it through all the loops that you have on the hook. And this is how we will do the decrease. Always that decreases at the beginning is made after the first stitch, and at the end of the row we will do it into 2 stitches before the last one. So we will just half double crochet now until we have 3 stitches left. Now we have 3 stitches left, so in the next 2 we will do the decrease and 1 half double crochet into the last stitch. And we will just repeat this row until we will have the same number of rows as for the other sleeve, or the same number of stitches as we start with. So when you start to work on the second sleeve, you should start with 86 stitches, and then you should get to the 26 stitches, which will be the stitches in which we will work the cuff. So now just repeat either for 30 rows or until you have 26 stitches left. Okay, I finished working the sleeve and now I have 26 stitches left. And remember that after the first cuff we had one row just in half double crochet. So now we will do the same. We will work one more row just in half double crochet without decreasing, and then we will start working on the cuff. So now just work one half double crochet into each stitch. Okay, I just finished this row. Now we will start working on the cuff, and we will have to chain 11, and then starting with the second stitch we will single crochet into each stitch, into each of the next 10 stitches of the ribbing stitches. And when we will get to the sleeve, we will just join the cuff rows with the stitches on the sleeve, because we are just working this cuff and joining it as we go. So now just single crochet into each stitch. Okay, and now because we got to the sleeve, we will just slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. First is to connect the row that we just worked, and the second slip stitch is to connect the next row. And now we are just single crochet into the back loop only to the end of the row. And then chain 1 and turn, single crochet in the back loop only, again until we will get to the sleeve, so for the next 10 stitches. And then when we get to the sleeve, we will just connect these rows with the sleeves, with the sleeve stitches, by making 2 slip stitches into the next 2 stitches of the sleeve. And we just have to repeat these 2 rows until we will complete the entire width of the sleeve. Okay, now we are done with the cuff. I will just chain 1, and then you can let this end longer because we can use it to stitch the sweater on this side. So because we are just have the yarn here, we would just use our needle and then start stitch together the back and front panel, starting with the cuff and ending with the bottom ribbing. And we will have to stitch the sweater on both sides, and basically our sweater is almost done. We will just start to stitch together slowly into each stitch and with patience, just to have a nice seam that is joining our parts together. So this is how we assemble the sweater. You just have to stitch the sides together, and then basically our sweater is done. We just have to do a few little things just to finish some finish touches of this sweater. I forgot to mention at the beginning, because you saw in the photos that we will put some appliques, I think it's the word, on the sweater. These are not mandatory, but if you want to put them, I will just leave it the links in the description below, the links for the tutorials. Now that we finished stitching together the sweater, we have to work a bit on the neckline. I will just do one row in single crochet, one round in single crochet, just to make the edge looking a bit neater than is now. Of course that you can add by working the same maybe a high neck color or something if you want. This can be worked also, just working in rounds in the stitch pattern that you would like to use, and you can do it as many rows as you want, depending on how high you want the collar or this neck to be. I will just single crochet into each half double crochet side row. Usually I'm just looking for the stitches that are formed in between the rows. Basically you will have to do one single crochet into each side row, but if you feel like your stitches are too you have a big distance between stitches, so they are not looking like you used to with the single crochet, you can just adjust how you are doing the single crochet stitches. This is depending on everyone's tension. So of course that side rows half double crochet are a bit wider than a single crochet stitch, so you might feel to make more single crochet than just one single crochet in each side row. But this is like I said, depending on how you would like to be. And then after making this row, I just ripped off here because I didn't like it, the stitches were too apart. So now I'm starting to work into each stitch, into each side row, but working between the rows, the half double crochet rows. I don't know if it will make a difference, but I liked it in the end how the stitches were looking and the edges were looking, edge were looking, but it's depending on you. So now we were talking about the appliques. I crocheted them using fingering cotton yarn. The sun is working dainty wool hanger pattern, and I will link the tutorial in the description. And for the clouds, I just use a tutorial I found on YouTube, and I will also link it to into the description box. and then you can make as many appliques as you want and sew them on the sweater, and after that the sweater is done. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you will like to make it for your daughter or for your granddaughter or for some friend's daughter, because it's super cute and I really hope you'll like it. In the meantime, thank you for watching this tutorial, and I can't wait to see you next time and to work some other cool tutorials together.